Hello, I'm TMN, and welcome to today's movie review. Clint Eastwood stars as the Man with No Name, an alias created by American producers to sell the character of Sergio Leone's 1960 spaghetti western films, the Dollars Trilogy. This Italian-made film was not released in America until 1964. And over the years, it has gained a reputation as being one of the best spaghetti westerns out there, even being referenced in popular films such as Back to the Future Part 2 and 3. But where is the appeal in this film? Well, let's find out. This is A Fistful of Dollars.
Get 3 coffins ready.
Huh?
Fistful of Dollars tells the story of a strange mercenary who comes to a seemingly desolate town where 2 rival gangs terrorize the locals. However, when the stranger joins each of the opposing sides, all-out war begins, and he uses this as an advantage to save the people. Now, while the third film in this trilogy may be the one that has garnered the most popular reputation, we cannot deny that Fistful of Dollars is the one that started it all. However, if you want to go back a step further, you could also add the argument that it was technically Akira Kurosawa who directed the first spaghetti western. His film, Yojimbo, tells the story of a strange mercenary who comes to a seemingly desolate town where 2 rival gangs terrorize the locals. However, when he pits the 2 gangs against each other, all-out war ensues, and he uses this as an advantage to save the people. Sound familiar? Well, Kurosawa must have thought so, because he actually sued Sergio Leone, the director of Fistful of Dollars, over copyright issues. And Kurosawa actually won and received some of the profits for this film. And while I could certainly go into a video discussing which one is better, Yojimbo or Fistful of Dollars, I figure, A, I'm only reviewing this film, and B, I have not actually watched Yojimbo yet, so. But either way you look at it, this is still a classic film. The performances in it are great, and apart from never officially having a name, apart from Joe, Clint Eastwood does bring an intimidating presence to the role. Whether it's his trademark squint brought on by the set lights in the sun, or his smooth, low-talking voice, it's definitely an interesting character. The main antagonist of this film is Ramon, played by John Wells. Okay, technically that is the American version of his name. This is actually the actor's name. But either way, he does a great job in the role. You definitely see why he's the leader of his gang. There's definitely this aura of menacing authority about him, and he definitely brings this somewhat disturbing passion to the role. At the beginning of everything, when Eastwood comes to town, he befriends a local innkeeper who seems to have tabs on everyone. Of course, assuming that he is merely looking for money, he sends the Man with No Name to work for Ramon. And I think what makes this movie so interesting is that there's no set good guy or bad guy. This is the West, and no matter who you are, greed takes over all. We as the audience associate Clint Eastwood's character as the hero of the story. And while he does save the townspeople at the end of the film, it never seems like he really does it with a sense of justice in mind. It's all about the gold, and you move on to the next town. But perhaps what also makes this character so interesting is his vulnerability. He is not like most cowboy superheroes of the past. If this film wants to teach him a lesson or two and beat him up a couple times, they will. It is certainly relentless at times. And who, of course, could forget this guy, Ramon's brooding henchman who seems to die in every one of the Dollars Trilogy films. And always in a violent way. Ennio Morricone composed the score for this film, and it has become iconic at this point. Again, certainly not as overused or popularized as the third film in this series, but it is still extremely catchy and fitting for the tone of this film. I'm glad that American audiences are slowly beginning to recognize his work, because unfortunately I do feel he has been hidden in the shadows. But thanks to directors such as Quentin Tarantino, who will occasionally incorporate Morricone's scores into his own films, US citizens are slowly becoming more familiar with this Italian composer's work. And rightfully so, because this is a composer with a huge list of work. Just to give you a little idea, this is a number representing all of the films that John Williams has composed. This number represents how many films Hans Zimmer has composed. And this last one? Well, that's Ennio Morricone. And while the rest of the soundtrack for this film is definitely good and fitting for the tone of the movie, the main theme itself is probably the only one that you're going to leave actually remembering. But anyway, overall, this is a pretty enjoyable film. The acting at times certainly has a cheesy feel to it, but considering when this movie came out, it seems fitting for the period. Eastwood definitely stands out as the most interesting character, but I have to say the best performance has got to be John Wells. And the only reason I'm still not saying his actual name is because I don't want to attempt to say it and get it wrong. But yeah, everyone else in this movie does an okay job. As I've said before, the music in this film was great. As with most Morricone scores, it is catchy, and once you've heard it, you will never get it out of your head. As well, this film has many memorable moments. It's got a very dark tone and atmosphere, but has just enough humor thrown in to where it never quite goes too far. It may not be the best of the Dollars trilogy, but it is certainly a good start. It's got action, suspense, violence, and love. Altogether, I rate Fistful of Dollars. Well guys, that's about it for today's review. Be sure to tune in next Monday when I review For a Few Dollars More. And also stay tuned for the following Tuesday when I finish out the Dollars trilogy by reviewing The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever I post. Leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts on the film, share this video with your friends and family, and as always, subscribe. I'm TMN. Until next time.